Hey y'all, it's Friday, so it's gonna be my question and answer day. But first, I'm just gonna do an update. So I'm gonna finish my 1,000 words today, and that'll be my 5,000. So I'm probably next week I will hit my halfway point for this story, so that'll be good. And then I need my 4 weeks to finish it off by April. All right, so I'm gonna grab my cheat sheet here that I made last week. So my second question that I didn't answer last week because these got long. Let's try that again. Was she kind of combined a couple different questions into one? So I'm gonna try to answer most of these. So I don't know. I guess for me, I have always been a reader because I grew up in a time when we didn't have a lot of electronics. It was 1980s. And our family was always one that valued reading, so I was always reading. Ma used to read to us, and I started reading early, and I still think, looking back now on that, I was one of those kids that read advanced more than the grade level that we should have been, because my parents, there was no restrictions. If you wanted to read something, they let you read it. They didn't care. So I was reading, like Stephen King when I was, before a teenager, and I started with Scholastical books, and we used to get the Scholastic thing that Ma would always order books for us, and Bernstein Bears and Frog and Toad. Looking back on Frog and Toad, I didn't realize, that at that time the author was bi or gay. But, looking at those stories now, it's kind of obvious. So, yeah, I was always an advanced reader. I still am. I read, 3 to 4, 5 books a week. That's basically where most of my money goes if it's not spent on video games. So, yeah, I just, I've always been reading, and it's just my thing. And I kind of look back on that now, and knowing some stuff about myself, I think it's related to my autism. I've never been tested, but I always struggled with school with language and math and learning disabilities and some of that stuff. And they wanted to put me on Ritalin when I was younger, and I did have to stay back for first grade. I had to repeat that. So looking back on those things now and realizing the research and what's gone on with autism, I firmly believe if I did get tested and they gave me a positive answer, it would not surprise me at all. But so that was my thing. A lot of autistic people, they get obsessive about certain things. I wouldn't say it's obsessive, but they like. They follow through on certain things and they don't change their patterns too much. So my reading is my thing, and it's always been there. So, and earlier when I was younger, it was dinosaurs. I knew everything about possibly for dinosaurs, and then when I got older, it was also for my role playing stuff. I have I know I have a huge collection of role-playing books. I spent quite a bit of money on those for D&D and other settings. After 3rd edition is the only one that I stopped buying because I didn't like what they did to the settings that I enjoyed, so I stopped buying them for 4th and 5th edition. But I probably have one of the largest collection of 1st edition to 3rd edition Dungeons & Dragons, and I don't know what I'm ever going to do with it. I'll probably have to give it to my niece or nephew because I had a friend that I was hoping she would take it, but she's as old as I am now. So I have basically every novel for certain settings from 1st edition to 3rd edition, which is probably over about 500 novels combined together. So yes, reading was my thing, and it still is. So as for what got me into writing, I don't know. I guess it was the Dungeons and Dragons stuff. I used to imagine read a lot of fantasy, and it was my thing. At the time, there wasn't a lot of urban fantasy, so it was if you wanted to write fantasy, that it was the typical medieval Lord of the Rings type of stuff. And it was awesome when more of the urban fantasy came out. I enjoy those, so that's tend to be one of the things I'm writing. I do have my romance ones, and I have my erotic romance, which I enjoyed too. But my fantasy stuff, if you notice, if you look at my book list, it's more of those are the ones I write the most, and I plan to continue that setting because that was my influence for was more role playing stuff. I always wanted to have my own setting and create characters and expand it and do what I can do to like they did for Dungeons and Dragons and other role playing settings. So that's my thing. So yeah, my Bassett's Daughter setting, I plan to probably write for the rest of my life. And I don't know how many books and stories will end up in that, but I added at least 2 or 3 a year. So yeah, I guess that was my major influence, was always, the fantasy stuff I read and my imagination, because, at the time when I grew up, we had 4 channels, and then Fox came online, so that gave us 6 or 5, and we didn't get cable until I was almost a teenager. We begged for like MTV, so. And, music is also my influence. We were always a family that listened to music. I know tons of music that maybe a lot of people don't remember because of my grandparents and parents. So they influenced my music tastes. And that was another thing that I'm kind of obsessed with. I'm always listen to music. I even have to go to sleep with something playing because otherwise I don't sleep. So I guess, so yeah, that's basically what got me into writing. I stopped when I was sick. I do have a story somewhere. It's still in a notebook that I wrote as a teenager about an elf who went adventuring. That's probably a reason why I wrote Kira's story that I published last week, so I can start adding to my fantasy stuff and do some elving. So the lit RGP genre is awesome because it's a branch off from fantasy, and you can use like video game stuff. So that perfect for me. I've been a gamer since I had my Commodore in the 80s. So yeah, but when I got sick, I stopped writing until I got to my 30s, late 30s and early 40s, and I just got back into it, and it was a way to me to make some money because of my disability. So I don't foresee me ever stop writing. I'll probably do this till I basically die in the chair. So yeah, that's basically what got me back into writing. Unfortunately, when I was sick, I didn't have the energy to do this, and it's tiring. People really don't realize how much work goes into writing a story if you want to make it as best as you can and sell it. Because the writing is the easy part. It's getting people to notice that you wrote something is the hard part. So basically, marketing. I did kind of mention my goals. But my major one when I started this 4 years ago, or it'll be 4 years this summer, was to get off my disability because I'm on government assistance for my health care, and I'm slowly getting close to that goal. A lot of people don't know, if you're on government disability, that you can't own more than $2,000 in assets, or they will take it away from you. And if you do get married, you can have 3, and then they take it away from you. So disability people, unfortunately, we get shit on, and excuse my language there, but that is the truth. The government really restricts you on everything you can do. So I always was worried about, making too much money too fast, because I wasn't going to know what I was going to do for healthcare. So, but I realized that this year is probably going to, if it isn't this year, it might be next year, that they're going to probably be sending me a letter and saying, you are now making money and we don't appreciate that. So we're going to yank your government healthcare away from you. So I will have to, that was my goal. So I don't really care. And I have the money now to hopefully afford healthcare long enough to pay for it every month. Well, but I'll have to see. So yes, that was my goal, is to get off disability. If I make more money for that and it's mine, that's awesome, because it's mine and I don't have to, worry so much about what am I going to do if my parents aren't here anymore, and how am I going to take care of myself. So unless Amazon fades away or something else happens, I foresee that I will probably be using this as a passive income for the rest of my life. And if I'm not here anymore, I'm going to give it away to probably my niece and nephew. And hopefully that'll help them out too, because they'll have unless something happens in the meantime, they'll have a passive income. They can do with the money what they want with it. So, I guess that's my goal, was basically to make a retirement fund and get off healthcare. So, other than that, this is getting kind of long, and some of this was hard to talk about because of my disability still. So I'm going to cut this off because it's about 11 minutes. I will have another question and answer next Friday, and that's more talking about how much of my income I actually make. And that's going to be a hard video to talk about because I'm going to have to make that long because there's a lot of things that goes involved with that. So I'm going to cut this off for the week, and I will be back on Sunday with my plans. And if you want to subscribe, that would be awesome. And I'm out of here. See ya.